My capstone was APA, which I liked because it was supposed to be like 14 pages.
Oh,
I literally was like repeating myself. I was like, the fire burned because of the burn of the fire.
And no. And the dog walked itself because the dog needed to go out on a walk.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to The Gay Agenda. And today is our 10th episode, which we finally hit double digits. We love, honestly. No, for real. It's been a minute.
I know.
Yeah, but welcome back to the podcast. For those who are new, I'm James.
I'm Kyle.
And we are going to start actually plugging our socials earlier and again at the end of the episode, just because I feel like I don't even really know if everyone's making it to the end. If you are, thank you. We love that.
Tell me how I'm losing followers.
That's crazy.
I've lost like 10 people.
What?
I don't know if they're like spam accounts.
Or they might be bots, yeah. But
I mean, that's what I'm going to tell myself.
I hope.
Wait, okay, I need to like live my brat era.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I would be, but I can't see. No,
I cannot see. These are prescriptions.
Oh, okay, so you can a little. You can see a bit. Just a tiny bit. No.
James?
Hello, it's dark in here.
Prince?
No. Okay, so yeah, for those who are new, I'm James Kyle, and my Instagram is at JAIME _music_, which is JAIME _music_, and my YouTube and SoundCloud, for those who don't know, I also make music. Just put out my newest album, A Creative, so it'll be on the screen.
Everyone needs to listen to it.
Very much about the gay experience. And my YouTube and SoundCloud are at official JAIME Music, which will be listed here. But yeah, and Kyle?
Mine is just my first and last name, Kyle Broyles, KYLE BROYLES. That's Snapchat, Instagram. I am not
TikTok?
Musically creative. Oh, I just made a TikTok. I don't know if you saw that, but
I might have.
I made a TikTok because I was so sick and tired of watching TikTok like on the internet, like on Safari.
Like, I just
never had one.
Yeah.
I would always watch Instagram Reels, so it's an under development, like under construction page that I haven't been working on it. It's taken a while.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't know what the name of it is. I think it's Kyle Broyles 44 or something like that.
Kyle Broyles was taken.
Yeah. I think it's because I had another account.
Oh, okay.
And I was trying to become TikTok famous, and I think that one was taken, but I don't remember the login.
It's a whole new one.
So I just made a whole, but I have like 10 followers already.
That's pretty good. I mean,
I'm like getting to where Rico is, like 44,000.
Alright.
Shout out to Rico.
I feel like I'm in TikTok jail where like I only get like up to like maybe 2,000 likes, or not 2,000 likes, 2,000 views.
That is like way more than me.
But it's like not much, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm grateful, but like at the same time I'm like, I know that that's like not even close to the equivalent amount of people that are on TikTok, so whatever.
How many are on TikTok?
Oh girl, I'm like probably millions and millions and millions.
I'd say like billions.
Maybe. Probably.
Like at least
at least 1 billion.
1/4 of the population in the world. I don't know how many people live in the world. I think it's like 8 billion.
About, yeah, maybe closer to 9 now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like imagine having that much money.
Money, bitch, I'd eat it up. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, but
anyhow.
No.
Making podcasts?
No. Selling my soul to the education department.
What's the difference?
Right, I guess. Anyway, but if you guys are new, thank you for joining. All the returning people, thank you for staying and tuning in. We love you guys. Today we're going to be talking about overthinking and attachment in the gay community. So, that's a lot. It really can be.
It really is. We're going to try to wrap it in definitely under an hour, obviously, because we don't want anyone to stray off.
Yeah, no. And also, I think, too, I was talking to Kyle about this. I'm like, I feel like 30-minute, 35-minute pods are, like, probably the best length because it gives you, right, it gives you enough where, like, oh my god, like, I can't wait to hear what's the topic today.
And we could always talk about it more.
Right. Kind of wait, like, a part 2 or whatever. But it's also, too, like, after a minute, like, it's just a lot to have to go through. And it's also like, I feel like for people listening, like, you may or may not want to watch it the whole hour, you know what I mean? And then that's where
maybe
I'm like,
busy, maybe you just wanted to listen to it on your lunch break or
something where it's just good and simple enough.
You're really
but
like
not
optimistic about that. I like that. Like that's like very like that gives BDE. Like
BDE. Oh yeah, I was like, what is that? Sorry. Like I was like, is that a new one?
Is that a disorder?
Right.
Oh my god, yeah, I just made it up.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, we've been pretty good. I feel like things have been pretty much the same. We went to a birthday party literally the other day. So shout out to Josue. We love Josue.
Yes, happy. His birthday's on Friday. Actually,
yeah, it actually
we should invite him out like with us. That's another.
Yeah,
that's an off topic.
That or going out to St. Pete, one of the two. But yeah, it was so much fun. We literally, not gonna lie, got shit faced. But that was just because all of the pre-gaming at the party and then going out and everything.
Makes a strong espresso martini.
But it was delicious. Oh my god.
That was that mean espresso.
Oh
like
god,
I've never heard that song so much in a night. And
it was so much, it went because it was the part of the theme.
It did, but girl, that song like ate too much. Like she's big now.
She's big. Well, I mean, honestly, I get it. I feel like I would be like that if it was like if I did a brat theme birthday.
Well, I think it was also funny because like Jose was like, well, "Let me put this song.
Right. Let me cue it again." Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, no, but it was so cool because we got to like at least all get to like chime in on like what we wanted to hear like on the Spotify playlist, which was amazing. I love that.
We obviously played some Charlie.
Oh, you already know. Like you got P65 like in about 0.5 seconds.
A requirement. So, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, but it was so fun. I'm currently in a little bit of a summer break, not too much of a summer break because I also am doing some trainings for some other things coming up soon for my own like professional life. But also too, I'm kind of working on some new things, a little in the mix of things. Can't really talk much about it
They're
yet.
Like
but
a secret.
Yeah, secrets.
His manager said he's not allowed.
Head ass Prince.
I'm his manager.
Oh. Prince is my manager.
I'm his co-chair, executive manager.
For those who don't know, Prince is my cat. But yeah, so we've been having a pretty good time since you guys last heard from us. Also, too, honestly, our fucking brat episode.
Eating.
So
Julia.
Yeah, the analytics are good.
So Julia. That was such a good episode. I feel like it was so
good.
fucking funny.
It was.
Like I have so many people like not only in the local area like messaging me and telling me that they thought it was funny, but like the views are just ecstatic.
No, yeah, they're going off. They're going off.
It's
and I
crazy.
love that. And like for me, I'm more happy that like that episode got a lot of traction because it's like obviously, you know, you want your podcast to do well, and I think like in general, like the receiving of it has been really good.
Yes.
And I'm happy about that.
Agreed.
And I feel like if you're a true rap fan, girl, you're gonna listen to the whole thing, and you're gonna give it a thumbs up.
You're gonna listen to the remixes and everything.
All of it.
I'm still in my brat era for my sunglasses.
I will always
and my
be
shades.
forever and
like,
always. Probably until I'm like
probably because I can't see
30.
without these. But like Prince is very blurry without these.
yeah, I bet.
And I'm driving.
You're able to
No.
move in a vehicle without eyes.
No.
I'm screaming. But yeah, just so happy with the brat episode. I'm so excited to see what the rest of these, as time goes on, start to look like for views and for just engagement.
Yes.
Like, it really does mean a lot, and we love to see that people are watching and enjoying. So
We enjoy it. We love you guys.
Oh yeah, 1000%. But we're gonna go ahead and jump into today's topic because that's enough about us. You see us every fucking week, you know, love y'all, but we also need to, you know, talk about some topic shit because that's the whole point of the gay agenda.
Right.
But for today's episode, again, like I said, it's overthinking and attachment. We're gonna go one and one. We're gonna talk about one first and how that kind of leads into the other.
Right.
And given my psych background, I have a lot to say about this, but I also love to hear just what Kyle thinks about everything because it's like very, like we're two different people, so we have two different perspectives. And honestly, it's just like, we see this a lot in the gay community, and that's something where, you know, having a conversation about it never hurts. Plus, it's like, the more you learn, the more I feel like you have for, like, power is knowledge kind of energy.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to get it started, overthinking. What comes to mind? Like, what do you think? Obviously, it makes sense. You think too much. You're thinking way too damn much.
I think a great phrase for that would be jumping to conclusions
Very
automatically.
much. Yeah.
Like, that's where the overthinking part comes in, and I feel like it is also very self-explanatory. You're thinking too much into a situation.
Yeah,
like
way too much.
And as someone, me, who is an overthinker, that I overthink a lot. That's where my anxiety and my depression really gets into that. Like, it can be like kind of overwhelming and kind of like, I wouldn't say engulf your like whole personality, but can definitely like I wouldn't say make it the whole thing, but like a part, like a good part of it to where like people will notice.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like too, like I'm very much an overthinker. I think I've become less of one over, I guess, relations because I've started to realize that there's no real reason to do that anymore. I think I was too, and we'll jump into that, but like very much I was too in my head about things. I wasn't feeling as confident about certain things in relations and in just communications with people. Like, I think sometimes we overthink because we're expecting something to happen when we have no clue how that person works, what they're thinking. Like, how do you know? You know, and if you don't know, then what is the point of sitting there thinking about it so much to a point where it's like debilitating?
Right.
Like,
That's definitely like a pro and a con. It's like you don't know, that's the pro, but you don't know, that's the con.
Exactly.
And like that's where like all the assumptions come in, and like that's where like all the jumping to conclusions come in and everything like that. And it's just it can be very like toxic.
Yeah.
In a way, like honestly self-sabotage.
Oh,
like
1000%
you're
self-sabotage.
self-sabotaging, like for example, like a relationship with someone because you're overthinking, or like a job promotion, or like a good life experience, like maybe you got on this like killer sports team that's in your local area or something like that. Like I don't know what the case is, but I know that there's a lot of those in Tampa, but just for examples.
Yeah, no, seriously. I think we do it a lot basically off of like, I'd say interactions with people. And like you were saying, like literally overthinking is quite literally jumping to conclusions. In a way, it really much is, because you think about it in a context of you just met somebody and you're getting along great, but then you start to think about, okay, now where do I stand with this person? And then that leads into this, and that leads into this, and then you start thinking about things that you don't even know yet.
Right.
Like you have no clue. And if you get an inkling, that can definitely trigger overthinking too. Even if it's the smallest thing, it could be, oh my gosh, I saw them look at somebody else, so that means that they don't.
That means
like,
everything I thought was right.
Right, and it's like you're looking for your own confirmation.
And it's
right?
like, no, I was just looking in that general direction.
Right.
I just look,
use
and that
my
person,
eyes to look around the environment.
Yeah, not trying to seem shady, but like that person
Right.
was just there. I wasn't looking at them. I was just looking around.
Right,
It's like if you're anyone in the club, like I am a looker, not at people, but I'm just looking around.
Right.
Like
I am too. I'm very much like that.
I'm very much like, who else is here that I
Right.
know and stuff like that.
No,
like
yeah.
I don't know. It's just something I do. Maybe that's like anxiety driven. Maybe you know about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Overthinking is very much anxiety driven.
Yeah.
Most people who have anxiety are going to overthink. And that is more so out of, you know, wanting control over something for basically like, if you're anxious about something, it's because you're not sure of something, you're unfamiliar with it, you may feel uncomfortable with it. So in many situations, a lot of anxious people overthink because that's just a defense mechanism you have. But in the end, does it service you or does it hurt you? I feel like it hurts people.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That was
Because-
like hard hitting.
yeah.
Like Brandon in Orlando felt that.
Yeah.
He's probably like, whoa!
Whoa! No. Yeah, it's I think there's some people who overthink because it's a way of them to protect themselves, but I think some people do it because it's uncontrollable. Some people just can't control that, and they have a tendency to overthink because they're unsure of what's to come,
And it's
and
very
they
much
get anxious about it.
it floods their minds.
Oh, yeah,
And it's very much
consuming.
like an insecure,
Mhm.
like an insecurity. I wouldn't say issue. I would say more disorder, because I feel like being insecure is a disorder. I don't think it's an issue. Like that. Yeah.
No, I get what you mean. Like, I feel like it's part of a lot of disorders because that can come with, for instance, like OCD people, obviously anxious, like disorders, as well as anxiety disorders. Sorry, and also just like a lot of what you would see with like people who are borderline, people who are dealing with a lot of instability in their life. I wouldn't say like on its own it could be, but it could. You never know. Maybe the DSM will update that shit one day to include it, but who knows?
Right.
But like
What's their login?
What's their login? You mean APA? I'm screaming.
Wait,
Yeah,
what's
no.
APA?
The American Psychological Association.
Isn't that like how to type papers?
That's also that's like a way of typing off of like
When I was
their
in college, I
organization.
used to like typing papers like that because it was double spaced, and it would take a lot. Instead of MLA,
Yeah.
that shit was for the birds.
Yeah,
Like,
they also do that because you can add like notes in between the. Like you can if someone's
That's a
critiquing your
thing?
paper, yeah, I get mine.
Is that
like,
why
all the
they
time.
did? Well, I didn't study
No,
psychology.
not specifically, but a lot of like research papers don't have it like that. A lot of research papers are
okay,
single
okay.
space or double column.
My capstone was APA, which I liked
Yeah.
because it was supposed to be like 14 pages.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
no.
literally was
It's
like
like
repeating
7.
myself. I was like, the fire burned because of the burn of the fire. And
No. And the
That's
dog walked
called-
itself because the dog needed to go out on a walk.
yeah, that's called overthinking. me.
Yeah, no.
Like,
I would say, like, it's definitely a problem in, I would say, the younger part of people's lives. I feel like a lot of times when you're in your early 20s or, like, your late teens or adolescence, that is very much happening, like, for many people.
and I feel
who
like
are
it's
anxious.
happening because, like, you're getting out into the world.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not used to everything.
this world is a very judgmental and critical world. I'm sorry to say it, but, like, that is an unpopular opinion.
No, it's very true.
Like, but it's very true in my opinion. Like, they do not have your back. Like, you have to you have to have your own back, and you have to find the people that will have your back as well.
Yeah.
Like, and that's where a lot of overthinking comes from, in my opinion, is by honestly finding yourself too. Not only that, but like going out into the real world. Like, once you turn 18, you go to college and everything like that. You go to school and shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like for me, I've noticed it in a lot of my younger relationships because I was very much, again, not secure in myself in that relation.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's where we see it the most in the gay community, especially like just between people who are brand new to a relation or brand new to, you know, a certain age group. Like, I've noticed with some people who date a lot older, like say you're like 23 and you are dating a 36-year-old. Okay,
That's
that happens a lot,
35.
right?
Yeah.
There is a reason that I think people overthink, and that's because they are unsure of where they stand with this person who's already experienced all of that part of life and many things that this other person hasn't.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling like, you know what, like, I don't know if I trust them, like, what if they, like, for instance, if they say in this scenario, they cancel a date and the younger person's like, well, what if it's because they're meeting somebody, or what if it's because they're going on another date, or what if it's because they don't like me, or what if it's because, and then it leads you down a spiral, and like nobody wants that, but it very much happens, and I feel like it's normal. I think that's just like part of development for your own identity and like figuring
Everyone
out
goes
things for
through it
yourself.
when they're younger. Like,
Yeah.
straight, gay.
Oh, yeah.
I think everyone does.
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten better at it, like not overthinking as much.
Yes.
I feel like I overthink for things that I have zero control over.
Yes.
But I've learned and I've told myself over and over and over, if you don't have control over something, let it be.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing you're going to find out is something that you may have already thought about while overthinking.
Mhm.
And if you overthink, you're already putting yourself in that position and that mindset, and it's going to make you feel even worse once it happens because you're like, I knew this was happening.
Right.
And it's like, that's not a way to live. You know what I mean? Like, it's very common, but it's not the best, you know? And I feel like it's debilitating in some people. Like, some people legit cannot get past it. Like, it's something that is who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, well, if you say you're an overthinker and you run with it, like, kudos to you, but like,
You will
I
make
don't-
out your whole person.
I don't think that's a flex. I think
Yeah.
that's just like, you're an anxious
Very much
person,
like a
and you
turn-off.
need to get some professional help with that, and maybe some advice that isn't going to lead you down the rabbit hole.
Agreed.
To be honest, because I wish I took people's advice back then when I was doing that the most. Like, I did that in previous relations, I did that with previous friendships, I did that with previous jobs. Like, it just doesn't help. It makes it harder to function, in my opinion. But there is a connection there, and I feel like for us, like, we overthink in certain scenarios,
Yeah.
but it's not like it's not encompassing our entire life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When I was younger, it definitely did encompass my entire life because, like I said earlier, I was like, whatever I thought I was correct on.
Right.
But honestly, going through life experiences and honestly, age, like, helped with that. Like,
Yeah.
I am 27, as we all know. Like, I still have to tell myself, like, Kyle, you are overthinking. You need to relax. You need to calm down. Like,
Yeah.
if it will happen, it will happen. Like, and that's that.
Yeah.
And like I said, age
Yeah.
and life experiences, honestly, like going through college, relationships, especially in the gay community, like, if it will happen, it will happen.
Right.
Like,
You can't force it.
Yeah.
You can't make this person like you. You can't make them find you more interesting. It's really about what fits will fit.
Mhm.
And if it's not going to, then you gotta let it
and one
be.
of my mottos is very much like, you will not be everyone's type, and that is okay.
Oh, very true.
Like-
and that is a motto that I stand by
And-
that you've said.
Yes, like,
Yeah.
you will not be everyone's type.
Yeah.
What mottos have you not stood by? Another episode. But
Another episode, the way you said, wait a minute.
I was like, wait a minute. You will not be everyone's type, and that is totally fine. That doesn't mean that you're ugly. That doesn't mean that you have a shitty personality. That doesn't mean that you have horrible qualities about yourself. That just means, like, it's as simple as you are not that person's type.
Right.
Like, I have been told before, like, you are very good looking, but I'm just not into you.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, move on to the next person, because I can guarantee you the next bitch is probably into you.
Yeah.
Like, so hard. Simping over
Yeah,
you.
yeah. there's times where I feel like, and like this is where I feel like when I find myself doing it the most is like when I think the other person, either they're older than me or I think in my mind they're more attractive than me. So when I do think like that, then I start to overthink because I feel anxious and insecure with that person or in that position or in that scenario. And when you feel like that, I feel like sometimes the best thing to do is talk to someone who doesn't have like that kind of thought process. Like, you know, there's times where I was overthinking in a relation, or even like the premature relationships where it's like the situation
definitely getting
area.
like an outside perspective.
Yeah,
like
and
because
Kyle told me some crazy good information like that I feel like I wasn't seeing or that I wasn't thinking about, and then I would go to Kyle.
My motto: let's talk about it. But like it's Taco Tuesday, so like let's taco.
Let's talk about it. I'm screaming. I feel offended.
You're Mexican
ass. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's like it's very human and very normal to overthink in certain situations because, you know, anxiety's very much everywhere nowadays.
Yeah.
Like you can't go do something without some anxious thought, and that's also our generation. I think
definitely think social media too. Like plays a really big factor in that. Like
you hear about crazy stories and things like that, and that
watch
makes you
a
think
lot
about
of,
if that's
like,
happening to you.
Instagram Reels or TikToks, and it's about these like famous Instagram people or TikTokers, and they post this one photo and it gets like a shit ton of likes, and it's like I watched this one girl, for example, she was like, who the fuck is this girl, and then who is this next girl, and the next girl had her like skirt ridden all the way up, was super bloated, and like had her arms hunched out, and she was like, that is me. I literally took that within 15 minutes of each other. She literally was like, good lighting, have an arch your back and have a great angle and a good photographer and some fucking photo editing skills, and you got a great fucking photo. And she was like, but that 15 minutes later, just know I was at the snack bar. And I was like, you know what? And she's gorgeous too. I was like, honestly, period. And I've seen like a lot of even like male gay influencers, like they've been like, no, bitch, like this photo was AI. Like this photo, I definitely edited the shit out of it, like to make my skin clear and stuff like that. Like not everything you see on social media is the truth.
Right. And I think people overthink because they see a lot of shit like that too, where they're like, oh my god, like there's so many other people out there that look better, so like that means that I'm not for them or that I'm not wanted or desirable, and it's like,
which is very not true.
Not true. Yeah. It's like, and I always say this, like, to be real, if you don't have evidence, physical, tangible, not even physically, but like tangible evidence in a way, whether it's digital or physical, that tells you otherwise, then don't think in that way. Because it's like, it's kind of like in the situation of like if you were to think someone's cheating on you or something, and so then you overthink everything about that scenario. That is like, do you have evidence? If you do, then maybe your overthinking is valid, but if not, then why are you doing that to yourself? You know what I mean? Like,
it's very much
I did that shit like crazy after my ex broke up with me last time, and that shit sucked. But it's like, you think about everything, you go down a spiral, then it depletes your mental health, and then you're like, oh my god. And then eventually one day it's like all proven to you on a silver platter that like you were tripping.
The truth will come out eventually.
So it's like, you know, and sometimes you're not tripping, sometimes you are right, which is crazy. But like, the overthinking, it doesn't serve you that much.
To think that, because that was another point I wanted to get at, was like, overthinking can work in your benefit if you play your cards right with it.
Right.
Like, if you're thinking something is afoot, but you're like, no, I'm not going to overthink it, let the cards lay out as they may.
Right.
Your overthinking was correct.
Right.
But that's where we get to the point of like, don't overthink it and then act on those insensitive acts or thoughts.
Yeah, especially acting on something that you don't know for sure, that will get you in a pickle real quick.
And I love pickles.
Like, I love getting in a pickle.
I love it.
Oh
my god, these coasters.
I know they stick. But I feel like my advice to people that do overthink on a regular is like, again, the evidence thing, but also too, talk to someone that does not actively overthink as much as you do, because they will give you a different perspective and possibly help lessen the thought process of overthinking. Because honestly, there was times where I would have to go to Kyle or I would go to other friends that didn't think like that, and they would tell me something and I'm like, oh my god, you're right. Why am I doing that? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And then that really does kind of ground you again.
Right.
And sometimes too, also, if you're overthinking, like, go do something that's going to stimulate your mind in a different way. So like exercising, going for a run, going for a jog, listening to music.
That's a good point.
Yeah, anything creative really does help. Drawing, painting, literally. So if you feel like
not like distracting your mind, but like getting your mind off of it,
right, in a different way,
in a healthy, different way. Like, all those examples, that was good.
There you go.
Wow. Oh
I don't study psych for
gosh.
nothing.
Are you Buddha?
No. But I love Buddhism.
Oh, you're right.
So yeah, I feel like that's something. What would you say? Do you have any other tidbits of advice for people who overthink?
Honestly, people that overthink, breathe.
Yes.
Take a breather. Take a breath.
Yeah.
Think about those thoughts that you're thinking of, and being rational with yourself. Being
Right.
like, is this really true? Like,
Right.
is this really happening?
Right.
Think about it for a second.
Yeah.
Before you act on those thoughts.
Yeah. 'Cause
That
acting
has
on it
helped
doesn't
me
help.
in a lot of situations,
Yeah.
especially with relationship advice. Like, taking a breather, thinking like, is he really doing that? Or, don't double text him, don't do this, don't do that. And it helps you in the long run.
Oh yeah, it really does. I feel like too, it's like if you sit there and think rationally with yourself, it will help you come to some sort of conclusion that isn't based off of your own like what you're looking for. Like I feel like confirmation bias is such a big thing in overthinking because you're looking for things to confirm what you thought about, and so that way it makes more sense to you, or it lets you down easier, or whatever the case may be. But again, think about whether it serves you or if it's not serving you, and if it isn't, then try to find an alternative, or maybe overthink about something different. Overthink about like
something that matters,
right? Something that's like not going to consume your entire life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, am I gonna get this like job promotion?
Right.
Or, like,
But even then,
pass this
that could suck too.
class.
Yeah.
But like, it will motivate you. Probably.
Yeah, it could.
That's
it could
where like
motivate
some
you.
of the benefits come from overthinking. But breathe.
Right.
Think
Breathe.
about your rational decisions.
Yes.
I feel like we all overthink.
Yeah.
It's totally normal to overthink. Not a bad thing to overthink, but breathe through your overthinkingness. Prince also supports this message
Right.
of overthinking. Oh,
He's over here literally saying it right now.
come here. I've never had a cat say I hate you more.
I'm screaming. It's gonna be like the Bob and Monet thing, where like Bob hates Monet's cat. No, but yeah. So like I guess for whatever you can, try to ease that because it will make things easier on you in the long run, and it'll help to kind of condition yourself into not overthinking as much. But this kind of segues into the next bit of what we wanted to talk about for today's podcast episode, and that is attachment in the gay world. And by attachment, I'm talking all things attachment style, baby. If you know anything about like even Psych 101 stuff, like very much attachment is taught. It may not be in depth, but it's, very important. I feel like the gay world has a different range of attachment. Not many people. So let me start by this. For those who don't know, attachment style is basically the way in which we attach to people in our later life based off how we attach to caregivers in our beginning of life.
Yes.
So if you had a very rocky family dynamic, a lot of times you're going to develop one of the insecure attachment styles. But if you had a very good family where very minimal conflict, very supportive people, that kind of a thing, a lot of times you do develop a secure attachment. And the difference is secure is very much you're confident in yourself as well as confident in others. You support yourself and think positive of yourself while also thinking positive of others and the expectations that you'll get from others. While an insecure attachment style, there's three, but you have an anxious ambivalent attachment style, you also have a dismissive attachment style and avoidant attachment, as well as disorganized, but dismissive and avoidant kind of be similar to each other. But ambivalent and anxious really just means you are quite literally not sure of yourself. And in that sense, you do want a relation, you may want to feel connected to people, and you kind of crave it, but you're quick to fall in love, you're quick to feel like there's stronger emotions to people and things than there really is. And also too, like, again, with it in its own literal, like, anxious attachment, you're usually an anxious person.
Yeah.
And again, that can be off of unstable relations and family dynamics, all that. And also just seeing and witnessing, like, again, like learning from what you observe as a kid, you're very much likely to adopt that as an adult, and that will play out in every relationship. So, and then you have avoidant, pretty much says it right there. You feel kind of negatively about yourself as well as negatively about others, and so you avoid people because of these negative expectations you have for people. And then with dismissive, you feel very good about yourself and you feel confident in yourself, but you think negatively of others, like as if they don't deserve your time or they don't deserve your love or they don't deserve this or that. So
That's a toxic
very
one.
dismissive, right? And then disorganized is really the worst one, where literally negative, confused about relations, confused about how to manage and begin a relation.
It's definitely like a find yourself.
Yeah.
If you were in that.
Yeah. And there's ways to change it. Like, there are so many ways to change it, as in, like, going to therapy and working on some of those deeper things that you've noticed about childhood, which psychodynamic therapy would help people like that if you are looking into that, as well as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. But also, too, DBT has been very good, dialectical behavior therapy, for treating attachment issues. But what I have noticed very much, because, you know, I'm an observer girl. When we are out and about, when we're around certain gays, I look at this shit because I'm like, how do you interact with people and how do you manage a relationship with people? And a lot of times when people overthink, they're very much in that anxious, ambivalent attachment where they're like, you know what, like, I really like people and I really want to be around people, but like, I'm not sure if they like me. Like, am I enough for that person? Like, this and that, right? And then that leads you down the rabbit hole. So I feel like what I've noticed, especially in the gay community and like the gay male community a lot too, is a lot of people are anxious as fuck, like anxious attachment as fuck. And if they're not that, they're avoidant because they've been played over so many times, they've been dissed so many times, broken up with so many times, cheated on so many times, and that really fucks with you. Yeah,
like it gets in your head. It's all you think about,
right? And
basically,
and every time you meet someone new, regardless of
major trust issues,
right?
That's
major
honestly
trust
what
issues.
I went through with all my exes. Every single one of them cheated on me.
Yep.
Just major trust issues.
Yeah.
But, you know, first step is admitting the problem.
Yeah. Or even noticing the pattern.
Yeah.
Because if you feel like, oh my God, like I did this in the last relationship, so some people work on trying to avoid it in the next one, sometimes it can be or feel a little unavoidable, you know, where you feel a little stuck. You're like, uh-oh, like I did this last time. Oh my God, I'm recognizing that I'm doing it again.
Right.
So how do I break that? And some people at that point turn to that avoidant part because they're like, okay, well, in order for me to stop doing that, or in order for me to break the cycle, I need to get away from this kind of a person, or break away these types of feelings. And that's hard to do, especially on your own, in your own head. Like, it's always good to talk to people about it, but I've noticed it. The main insecure ones are what we see in most gay people and gay clients. But that's why I want to work with gay people in the future.
The world can be a toxic place.
Yeah.
And how you perceive it will either benefit you or destroy you.
Yeah, seriously. And there's ways of changing that, but again, like I said, therapy is one of the best tools for that. Yeah. And really being honest with yourself if you notice these things. Like, I'm so glad I had that moment for myself where I realized that I was like self-sabotaging through my own attachment towards people, and it didn't service me. It made things worse and it made me feel worse. So eventually I was like, well, what can I do to fix this?
Right.
And then I started to be like, well, let me get some space from those kinds of relations and focus on myself. Focus on what I know about me, what I love about me, what I love about other people, you know, trying to heal that, you know. Because it's very possible, like, as you get older, you can either get a worse attachment or you can make it better. And some people have been able to build themselves up into a secure attachment, but it really does lie in childhood. And sadly, for a lot of gay people, childhood can be very, very rocky and confusing and built in shame.
Didn't have a good upbringing.
Right. And just also like people-pleasing energy. You know, as you're a child, you just want people to be happy with you or love you.
A lot of gays that are people pleasers. And it's like, learn how to say no, babe. Like, you can say no. Set up boundaries are healthy.
Yeah.
Boundaries are healthy. That's what keeps a relationship and friendship thriving.
Right. And it can really actually service you too. Having boundaries and being solid on boundaries can help with those types of attachment.
And I feel like that'll help with overthinking as well, like 100%.
Oh yeah, for sure. And being like, you know what, like, you know, maybe we only see each other once or twice a week instead of every day. Because if you see them every day and you're building that off of that, one person's going to get tired of it. It's just very much how that works.
You're definitely going to get out of the honeymoon phase
very quickly.
quick.
Yeah. And that's sad at the same time, but it is what it is. And I think, like, if you relate to any of this, like, do some inner work, you know, and it doesn't hurt. It's very helpful for yourself.
Inner work is so healthy.
Yeah.
It's so healthy.
It is. It really
Focusing on yourself and, like I said, setting up those boundaries, not only with yourself, but with your friends, being like, you know, maybe I shouldn't go out tonight. Maybe I should have a night in. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be a people pleaser, which is what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Put yourself first.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Not selfish to put yourself first in most situations.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you don't have your back, no one else will.
Yeah, very true. And I think, too, like, in a way, if you feel like you don't have say enough support to support yourself. Look for people that will support you unconditionally, that will help you through those tough moments. And it doesn't need to be a relationship. It can be a friendship, and it can be something very easy, very no expectations, no strings attached. Very much like, I'm here for you. Let's talk about it. Like, what are you feeling? What are you thinking? Like, and I wish people had more support like that, but you know, over time, you got to find the right people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on that note, we wanted to kind of just wrap it up here, I guess. You know, we really hope if it resonated with you today, any of this podcast episode, you know, think on it and figure out what you would benefit from. If anything that we've said, you know, advice-wise, or, you know,
basically saying overthinking is normal.
Yeah.
To overthink, especially as a gay person in the LGBT community, that is so normal.
Yeah.
But breathe. Take a step back, realize what you are overthinking, and think, am I tripping or not?
Right.
Like,
is this worth tripping about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overthinking, totally normal.
Yeah.
But acting on it,
that's where you get into trouble.
That's exactly.
Yeah. Especially without having thought and taking a step back.
Mm-hmm.
That can really,
Yes. And I know sometimes it's easier said than done.
1,000%.
But try not to think of that as well. Like, try to actually do it and take a step back. Think, is what I'm thinking rational?
Yeah.
Logical? All that good stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
1,000%. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Today was we wanted to do like a little mental health one in a way, you know, talk about some psyche with the gays. But I really hope that you guys can find something good out of this and, you know, give yourself some props and some grace because it's
definitely
important.
know that you are not alone.
Oh, yeah,
like, you are not the only person that is overthinking.
Not at all.
Like, especially someone who is in their 24-year-old or 27-year-old. Like, we have been there.
And we still will.
And we still are going through it.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally normal. You are not alone. Take some time to step back. And if you need to look onto a friend, look onto a friend.
Yeah.
And be like, bitch, am I tripping?
Right.
What the fuck? Let me explain the situation and tell me if I'm overthinking or not. Like,
yeah. And if I am,
tell me.
Right.
Like, be like, bitch, I think you're overthinking, or bitch,
right.
I think what you're thinking is logical, but you need to relax.
Right. The relaxed part is very, very emphasized.
You need to breathe. You need to... How am I going to act on this?
Yeah.
If I don't sound crazy.
Yeah, and don't act prematurely.
Yes, please,
very,
for the love of Christ.
Yeah. But anyhow, we love you guys so much, and we really I'm happy that we got to do a little mental health one today.
Yes.
But
mental health one.
Yeah, if you guys have any common experiences that you want to talk about in the comments, go for it. If you want to write us or whatever the case is, please do. We love seeing or hearing about it. Like, it's just, you know, people gotta
I'd love to hear about experience.
Some relation, like some things where you can relate and be like, you know what, I like that they talked about that today, you know? But again, love you guys. And for those who made it to the very end of the pod, again, we will have... Right, congratulations. No, but to our socials, we're going to plug them again. We're going to start doing that beginning and end kind of thing. And even if we don't talk about our socials in the beginning, I'll put the little, you know, bar on the video so you can see it.
Don't look at my TikTok just yet. It's still in a work.
She's in the construction phase.
Yeah, she has that like work under construction sign. You will get fined at speed.
It's
like,
put on, the cones are around it.
Yeah, it's like Kyle Burrow's 44. Like, what is that? Like, that just sounds like 44. I picked one.
Right.
Like, I think I did actually.
Let Google pick it. I'm screaming. But anyway, yeah. So we love y'all, and my socials are at @Jaime_music_. It'll be listed here, and my YouTube and SoundCloud are. And actually, I don't even remember what my TikTok is, but I'll put it here. But
it's there.
It's here.
It's so Julia, and it's that
right.
it is that brat color, right here.
Right, and
she's everywhere.
Everywhere.
She's so Julia.
Just very much, yeah. And my YouTube and SoundCloud are @official Jaime Music. That will be right here. I'm just gonna start getting used to doing that. I hate having to spell it out every time, but JAIME.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't have anything to promote.
Yeah. Just your.
I'm a homeless person that you found on the street.
Yep. Welcome my next guest. No.
The Delulu. Okay, mine are Kyle Broyles, KYLE, BROYLES for my Instagram, Snapchat, and then apparently my TikTok under construction, like I said, is Kyle Broyles 44.
I won't even tag it. No, okay.
I won't even tag it, but if you find it, please give me a follow. I haven't posted anything yet because that's that embarrassing. But
it's whatever.
Yeah. So
we're all gonna start somewhere, babes.
Oh. Do we?
I'm screaming. All right. Well, again, mwah, love you guys, and we will see you guys all in the next episode of The Gay Agenda. All right. Adios. Bye.